And my request to all of you would be, friends, make this session interactive. If you have any questions on the opportunity at large, please feel free to write that. I will be happy to take that even live today. And anybody who wants to do one-to-one discussion, we have offices pan-India. If you want to talk to anybody in our teams in any part of the country, we'll be more than happy to have a session with you. So, friends, what we're going to cover is a little bit about our company, Franchise India. Second, the opportunity that we have, the webinar, which is Direct English. Third, what is the opportunity of Direct English in India, right? It's a global company headquartered in UK. They're already present in more than 20 countries across the globe. So what we feel is the opportunity for Direct English in India. Fourth, we'll also talk about the qualification criteria, who and how one can partner with Direct English. What is the offering and the format we are considering? So we'll also talk about the business model. And lastly, what are the territories which are currently available for Direct English? So first and foremost, friends, I'd like to give you a background about our company and also give you a little understanding about Franchise India and Aptitude Studio. So through our company, Aptitude Studio, we have taken the master licensee rights for the Indian territory. This is almost about 6 months back. While we have been, know the company, Direct English, and the business and the management, including the leadership, for quite some time. It was only recently that we decided that we wanted to partner with Direct English through our company, Aptitude Studio. So, so about Franchise India, friends, we are a 26-year-old company which started up, our business 26 years back with a very big vision of making India, self-reliant through entrepreneurship. And we wanted to, in fact, ensure that entrepreneurship, should be accessible for everyone. So democratization of entrepreneurship is a mission with Franchise India. And in these last 26 years, we have worked very closely with our community of business buyers, investors like you, to help them buy a business. And on the other side, we also work very, very closely with companies who are looking at expansion via franchising, via distribution, via dealership. So Franchise India is, in fact, the world's largest franchise development and distribution company. And at the group level, there are intelligent synergies which we create, and the combined strength of all our group companies is, in fact, leveraged by each of its companies. And at the Franchise India group level, we are a company which has interest in franchising. We have interest in licensing, mid-market M&A, and also investments that we do. So Direct English is one of the investments which has been done through our company called Aptitude Studio. So while we work with the majority of companies, we work with them to expand their footprint. We work with them to make them franchise ready. But at the same time, while we have consulted many international brands to come to Indian market and thousands of companies to get into franchising for the very first time, it is very rare that we select an opportunity where we ourselves, want to partner. And these opportunities are ones that we ourselves feel have a big, I would say, opportunity to become a big category. And we felt Direct English was one such a business which had a humongous opportunity for a country like India, or I would say territory like India. So the business model of Direct English has been made after studying the Indian market. While it is a global brand and the model operates in 20 countries, but we understand India is a different market, requires a different proposition, requires a different offering. And that's what we did when we got the brand in February. So we studied the Indian market. We understood the competition that exists in the market, the presence, the demand, the pricing, the fee structure. And we took about 3 weeks to get that understanding. We consulted the parent company to present what we felt was right for a market like India, so that we are able to compete with any national brand of repute and also international players of the size and magnitude which Direct English is. So I'll talk about the opportunity. I'll talk about also the business model, and I'll give you overall perspective, friends, and then I will request Namit to kindly take over. We have a small presentation that we would want to be taken through, and we'll be happy to take any discussions post that presentation. We'll also take your questions live if you have any. And also we'll be happy to meet in person or come on a Zoom meeting as may be appropriate. So the market size and the opportunity, when I talk about the global size of the market is very, very big. It is almost about $50 billion. And this number is growing as I speak, right? So when we talk about English as a language, it is a third most spoken native language globally. And it is also the second most widely learned language, right? One is spoken language, but this is also the second most widely learned language globally, and also an official language which is spoken in more countries than the other. About 1.5 billion people across the world, across the globe, in 94 regions, they speak English as a language. And this is also a language which is used for business and communication. And I don't know how many you actually know, this is also the highest paid foreign language of the year 2023. So that's what a broader understanding of the category or the industry, I would say, is. Now, when we come back and understand India, India is also a humongous opportunity. While the global industry is about $50 billion, India itself, out of 94 regions where English is spoken, right, and people 1.5 billion speak, India alone is about 5 billion industry, right, where the demand for upskilling is very, very high. The demand for study abroad is very, very big. The demand in even businesses that we run, retail business, hospitality, it is very, very huge. And hence the requirement is enormous, right? So when I talk about strong language skills, which can actually open up many career opportunities, and notably, industries which are like IT, BPOs, KPOs, and others, they all need certain, skill set when it comes to English as a language. And the proficiency in the language is essential for many high-paying jobs also in these industries. So it is a very valuable, I would say, employability skill as far as the language is concerned. The second aspect, which is also important to be understood, is how big is the addressable market, right? Any opportunity that we see, how big it can be. We always want to understand, is the market big enough, first and foremost, and second, if the market is big enough, how can maybe a player like Direct English make an impact? So I'll give you some inputs on that. And so first and foremost, when I talk about the total addressable market, a market of ELT, which is English language training, it can broadly be sliced into three bigger segments. Now, there are three bigger segments globally. One segment is B2C, which is business to consumer. Second is B2B, which is business to business. Then we have B2G, which is business to government. And out of these three segments, the biggest segment is B2C, which is nearly 80% of the entire ELT providers in the country. Just the ELT providers, I would say national level, small level, unorganized players, 80% of the market is a B2C market, which is the biggest segment in the industry, right? And their main focus area or business sectors are retail, like I said, hospitality is one, information technology enabled services, which is ITES is one. And these are in big demand. And also they add value to the sector-based skills, which are acquired by individuals to make them more employable, like I mentioned. Right now, on the B2B side, there are also strong opportunities for the ELT market in India, which covers segments like schools. They cover segments like institutions in the K-12 segment, and also higher education, including your MBAs in engineering colleges, including corporates. Now, corporates, they cut across the ITES, which is also referred as a BPO sector. It includes tourism, it includes all retail segments, and also hospitality. So that is one segment. And lastly is B2G, which is business to government, where the government also conducts program for blue-collared jobs, right? But the segment that we are talking about, which is the biggest, is your B2C segment, which is 80% of the overall industry size. And Direct English is actually bridging the gap between academic teaching and employability requirement, right? So when I say B2C, this is primarily a self-sponsored individual, ambitious, career-focused. When I say B2B, it is a corporate-sponsored program sometimes, businesses which seek to improve the employees' ability to communicate, which could be within India, internationally. And it can be first level customer service, your sales staff, which is directly communicating with the consumer. It can be representatives, maybe technical representatives. It can also be executives and managerial staff, which requires a coaching like that. Now, India has a very big B2C market, along with any skill program, right? Like vocational programs we do, student take along these programs. Also English speaking courses, right, which improves their skill set and also their employability, which is a very, very big requirement. So Third, what is the problem which is being solved by the company, and why direct English, right? So while there are many players, I'm sure you would say there are many players at the national level, not many, I would say, but at the regional level, vanilla players, because this market is highly fragmented, very, very unorganized. And so when I say it is very fragmented and unorganized, I'm also saying it has a opportunity to be consolidated by key players who hold any kind of meaningful presence, right? So while there are players from domestic international companies in the space, but the gap is still very, very big when it comes to the quality level at which most of the players are operating, right? So if you look at the quality at which the current operators in the industry are operating, that is extremely poor and very, very questionable. Now, the English language training market, it comes under the skill development, right? So, which means that it forms a part of unregulated market in the country. So, no regulatory guidelines which is laid by the Indian government for setting up any ELT center in India. So, this also means that there are no regulations regarding what should be the minimum quality standard in terms of the teaching faculty, what kind of faculty should be had, what qualifications for the faculty. It does not have any standards of the content which is given to the students. It does not have any standardization on the framework in which the entire curriculum has to be imparted. The curriculum itself has no standardization. Even the certification level is missing. Lastly, even the infrastructure and the fee structure, all that is something which is not standardized because the industry overall is not regulated. And here's some sounds. So guys, any questions you have, keep writing it. So this is where, the bigger problem solving actually comes in. So the need of the today is to see, especially in this space, which is very increasing, is there is a need which is being felt for setting up a common globally acceptable standard and also assessment protocol for creating a common set of competencies, right? So hence the module which is offered by Direct English is that of a common European framework, which is a globally recognized and acceptable standard in the industry in the global market. So that was a little background, friends. We have a small presentation. I'll start with giving a little introduction about Direct English. What is that we're going to cover in the presentation? I like to have as much as your questions coming in. And most importantly, I would say what is really important for us is the profile of people. Unlike many of the businesses that, maybe in Franchise India that we offer for franchising and we select profiles for, education business, and especially the profile for a partner that we need for a Direct English is very, very different. And it goes through a very structured filtration process where we understand your background, we understand your experience largely in the education field. Not that somebody outside that cannot be, but if somebody comes from the education as a background, as a pedigree, is an added advantage. I would also say my current partners, as I speak, while we launched the brand about less than 6 months back, I have 3 partners who have taken 3 large territories in India, including Tamil Nadu, where the entire territory has been taken. It includes Delhi NCR, which is the capital. It has been taken by one of our partners, and also Northeast. And all my partners are people, or I would say, their experience, their skill set, and their pedigree is something which is extremely refined. They all come from the education background. They understand the sensibilities of running a business like this. So Direct English, what is it? So Direct English is a proven, has proven methods. It also has a very specialized curriculum, like I said. And Direct English is a pioneer, and I would say a global leader in the ELT space, which is English language training. It comes with more than 120 years of experience and heritage in training language to students across the world, from the mother company, which is Lingua 4. So the parent company of Direct English is Lingua 4, which has also been a pioneer in the language learning and publishing business. So the group is also proud to operate, I would say, in markets worldwide, and they have 2 programs. They also have a Delhi Live program, which is virtual training, which they do, and they also have physical centers which they approach, are there across the world. Now, before Direct English became a part of Lingua Group, it was a part of a very reputed, iconic British company called Pearson Education. I'm sure you've all heard of this brand. And later on, this brand was acquired by Lingua 4. So the company obviously was established. So the parent company is a 125-year-old company, while Direct English started in 1997. And like I said, it operates in markets worldwide through physical centers and also their innovative online group training module. So Direct English Live cannot be taken in isolation. So one person cannot do that. They have created these group training modules, which are joined by people from across the globe. And they provide the same quality of curriculum of teaching in their live lessons as they do in their physical centers. And this is delivered by their native English teachers. The CEO of Direct English is Mr. Derek Price. In fact, he has been with the company ever since the birth of Direct English, and he plays and continues to play a very pivotal role into the day-to-day operations of the business. So the model that we're offering is two formats. One is for a unit franchisee, and predominantly our focus is to bring like-minded people, area partners or area licensees, to be very precise, who can develop the territory. So in India, we have divided the entire country into 20 territories, of which 3 territories have already been awarded to our partners. And we would have very shortly our first 2 centers coming in the capital in Delhi and one in Chennai very, very shortly. And we'll announce that too. So profile of partners, like I mentioned, is of paramount importance to us. And we need somebody who understands the vision, and it goes to a very structured level of filtration, where after this, somebody who's keen, we'll have a first round of call to discuss. And the second final level filtration is obviously done by the parent company, where we also take you through a round of interview with the parent company in UK. So I'll talk more about the business model as we take you through the presentation. I'll request Amit if we can put our presentation on the screen.
Yes.
And I see some of you friends, you have raised your hands. If you have any questions, my request would be, please Q&A box में जाइए, आप लिखिए जो भी आपके questions हैं. If you can also tell me, if you come from relevant experience or you have a property in place where it can be done, we are more than happy to also take that understanding. But I think we'll have to go full screen. Yes.
Yes, ma'am. So Direct English, yes, ma'am, you can continue, please. Or if you want me to take...
You can start, but we don't see anything on the screen. I think you have to relaunch that.
Okay. Is it available? Is it visible, ma'am?
Yes. Go full screen.
Is it available now?
Then the moment you go full screen, I see
yes.
that slide going away. Shuru karo aap. Let's put that.
Okay. So this Direct English, as Sonia was saying, that it's a brand which is to be proud of in terms of spoken English programs. And with the rich hierarchy and rich legacy that they follow, right? So they are already from the mother company called Lingophone Group, 120 years old group, started in 1901. They teach 1 lakh plus students annually and have already a presence in more than 20 countries, right? And they do both through physical training centers as well as daily, which is Direct English Live Interactive.
But we can't see the screen. Please put it.
I believe then, ma'am, I need to get into this way only, without that being the full slide, I believe. Is it visible?
Yes, it's visible now.
Okay. So I believe going for full screen, it is creating some kind of an issue. So let me go through that, the way that it is. So as we discussed that these are some of the prime countries that we are talking about, more than 20 countries. Bahrain, Bulgaria, Israel, Indonesia, Iraq, Kazakhstan, Malaysia. So you can see entire Eastern countries, entire countries of the European countries are there where the Direct English is already available, right? And in some of the countries, they have got even a legacy of more than 20 years, where the certification also holds value when they go for employment opportunities. In terms of the continuously innovating, so they were the first to introduce the Direct English Live Interactive classes, and that has been the game changer basically. And they started this training before COVID itself. So most of the people at COVID level were not ready with the kind of setup and the kind of things which are required to get into live classes, but Direct English was already there, and they have successfully connected more than 74,600 students to Direct English Live. itself. So Louis Alexander is the face behind direct English, right? He started his direct English in the year 1997. He himself has been a Guinness Book of World Record holder for selling the maximum number of books. He has been the advisor to University of Cambridge as well. And in terms of CEFR, which is Common European Framework of Regulations, he has been the face behind creating that entire framework, right? So he is the person behind direct English.
Right. So I'd like to add, friends, if you type his name on Google, Louis Alexander, he is a name which is synonymous with English as a language. And people even say that he's the reason why English as a language even exists, right? So he's the one who created the entire curriculum for direct English. The entire work of his actually forms the part of entire curriculum which direct English has today, which includes obviously your 4 set of skills, which is speaking, writing, listening, and reading. All that has been developed by him. And he's also part of, his name has been featured in the Guinness Book of World Record because he sold about 4.7 million books, right? Which is the highest record of number of copies sold by an individual author in one single year. Next.
Yes. So in terms of the Indian market size, has already been briefed that internationally, overall as a world, is a market of around $50 billion. In India itself, it is a market of 5 billion USD, which is approximately 40,000 crores. And India, in terms of language, I would say today, English is becoming our second language or the first language of communication across the borders. And that can be reflected in my next slide, where we are talking about the national presence, that these are the regional languages that are being played, and English plays a big role in terms of connecting the dots across the territory of the country. So English is primarily required for anybody as a learner. So end user can be school students, individual learners, education institutions, government institutions, or corporate learners. So there is a huge scope in terms of English communication skills at all levels, all age groups rather, right? And this has been the major connecting factor for communications today. So there are few benefits of direct English. First and foremost, the entire content and the curriculum that the student gets is online, which is through a learning cloud, and LMS, a two-way interactive platform where the student can also record their voice. The system can correct that pronunciation. Approximately 1,500 new words are being learned by a student in every level of English, right? They also talk about all this video-based learning with characters in place to make it really convenient for a user to learn English and learn usable English. The second most important of the product is that the entire syllabus is cyclical in nature. The cyclical means that you will understand and appreciate that English as a language has to be learned by repetition or practice. And that has been the methodology that they have adopted in terms of cyclical syllabus. So anybody learning something as a concept in lesson 1 will again be repeated in lesson 4, but through a different medium with different examples.
If I can just add on here, friends, typically when we talk about syllabus, right? So syllabus are 2 types. One is the linear syllabus, the other is cyclical syllabus. So linear means if you miss maybe any subject in a day, you will never hear or see that again. But cyclical, you get a chance to revisit in the next level. But it is also not repetitive. While it looks like you're going to repeat that again, you revisit that, but it is not repetitive. It is more progressive in nature. Yes.
Yeah. So in every level, we are talking about 27 lessons. Every 3 lessons constitute a unit. And after 3 units, there is a test. So you can understand, my dear friends, that there are 3 exams in every level, which a student has to undergo, right? Plus, in terms of the feature of that LMS Learning Cloud, if the student has not completed lesson 1, the lesson 2 will not be activated. So it's all about that student is completing not only the lesson, but also the practice test and the skill test before that next lesson is being activated in that entire thing. Plus, for every level, as I told to you, that there are 3 examinations, and student also get a certification from direct English. Third point is the very critical point, is the level of trainers. So we only suggest to go for certified language trainers, which are available in India. They can be CELTA certified, they are TFL certified or IELTS certified trainers to whom the training is being imparted by direct English, and the direct English also certifies a trainer post the training that gets concluded by a trainer. In terms of the methodology that they follow,
I think we need to go on the next slide.
yes, the methodology that they follow is common European framework.
Friends, if I
there
want
is-
to add, this is a very, very important slide,
Yes.
and maybe I'd like to launch that slide, Amit. We don't have too much of visibility on what you're showing. So
Okay.
since this industry ELT segment, friends, in India is not regulated, there is nothing similar to a common European framework of reference, which is called the CEFR, that provides a proficiency scale for the language. And at the end of the course, you also receive a CEFR aligned direct English certification, which goes to every student who gets enrolled. Now, the DE levels, which is direct English levels, are aligned to CEFR. They recognize standard, like I mentioned, globally, which goes from the beginner level, which is A1, as we call globally, and it goes to the advanced level, which is C1. So on the screen, you see the different levels. So altogether, there are 8 levels, which which form a part of the entire curriculum, which is called the CEFR aligned curriculum. Now, these 8 levels have a foundation plus the subsequent levels. Now, these 8 core levels, each level has 9 units. So, हर level पे आपके जितने भी आपके 8 core levels हैं, every core level has 9 units of subject under it. And each unit also, in 9 units के नीचे भी आपके 3 lessons हैं. So, one level, each level has 9 units. In 9 units के आगे 3 lessons है, so which means about 27 lessons per level, right? So, and if I talk about all the levels put together, if somebody undertakes that, there are about 216 odd lessons across these levels. Now, all these levels which I'm talking about are further divided into 3 phases. One is a presentation phase, where the presentation is given. Second is a language study phase. Third is a practice phase. So these are 3 phases in which the entire curriculum is imparted to students. So when I talk about level 1, 2, 3, if you look at the screen, this is 3 levels broadly. One is your initial level, which is basic level, which is level 1, 2, 3. This is primarily your transaction level, which is more functional, I would say, where a lot of video storyline is used to communicate. The second level is intermediate level, which is level 4, level 5, and level 6. This is more interactional phase, right? So entire curriculum is interactional. It is more expressive. So the entire curriculum is very, very expressive. It covers a lot of grammatical topics. It also covers, includes other videos. It has a lot of non-video content. It also has a lot of reading, which is part of the curriculum. And finally, we have the most advanced phase, which is level 7 and 8. This is more used, very, very advanced for confidence building to maybe hone one skills, and also for language production and response. So a lot of senior executives, CEOs, lawyers typically would come and take a course like this, right? But if I look at the market overall globally and also in India, your larger target audience would be from level 1 to level 6, which is your basic and intermediate. 7 and 8 is a very small audience, niche audience. So larger audience that we're targeting is between level 1 and level 6. Even between these 2 levels, which is your basic level and intermediate level, the largest audience, I would say about 60-65% of the audience would be your level 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, 6 would be about 40-45% of the audience that comes in. So,
Yes.
maybe I'll put that, because
Yeah.
I don't think anybody is able to see what you're trying to show. And friends, if you have any questions, if you don't understand anything, please let me know. And let me put up a full screen so that everybody can see. I hope this is visible now. Can you see the screen, Amit?
No, ma'am, it is only coming just like a PPT right now. Single sliders, not the complete one. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you see my screen? I think that I've put this. So these
Yes.
are the levels, friends, that we were talking about. Maybe you can have a very close look at these levels. If you see, these are 4 skills which are very important for English learning, which is listening, speaking, writing, and reading. The entire curriculum integrates all these, 4 critical English learning skills. And the entire curriculum, as you see, is basic, intermediate, and advanced at the top. And we have foundation, which you see at the very start, which is followed by level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is how the entire curriculum has been split. And underneath, you will see the level 1 and 2 are A1 of Common European Framework. Level 3 is called A2. Level 4 and 5 is same as B1 level for CEFR. And level 6 is B2. And final, which is the advanced level 7 and 8, is a C1. Amit,
Yes. So in terms of market strategy, that what we are adopting is that we have taken the master rights, as everybody knows now, through Aptitude Studios, and we have created a structure in terms of area developer and some franchises. So area developer is one where we have demarcated the entire country into 20 regions, and area developer will be something acting like a regional office for that particular state, where all the unit licenses will come under him in terms of area developer, and subsequently they have the unit franchises under them. So area developer has many advantages in terms of taking the area developers, right? They get certain sharing of revenues, which I will subsequently speak in the later slides. First and foremost, the entire content of the curriculum that we are talking about is being delivered by a trainer, but it's called an hybrid because the entire content of the curriculum is through LMS or a learning cloud, right? You get brand exclusivity in your area. Even for a unit franchisee, there is a particular kind of dimensions or locations which are assigned to a particular territory, right? Area licensee again has got the potential not only to have their own training center, but also developing their own territory within them in terms of more sub-unit franchisees. And area developers get margins for franchise fees. They get the margins on the material. They also get the margins on the royalty, right? So there are multiple.
So like I mentioned, we are offering 2 partnerships. One is somebody who can run and operate a center by himself. So there's unit franchisee opportunity. Second, I would say more consciously, we are seeking partners for larger areas, which is coming in the form of area licensees for us, or area developers who would own the rights of an area and also develop the territory in the area which has been awarded to them, alongside opening and operating one single center of theirs, right? Now, in the next slide, we'll take you through on the financial structure, what investment it takes to put a center. But broadly, let me make you understand what a area developer and who qualifies also to be an area. But it looks like area franchisee is somebody who needs to have, deep pockets and needs to invest big. But in our case, especially the business model that we have designed is not designed keeping in mind somebody who can pay a lot of money, but it has been kept and designed in a manner so that we can bring in like-minded people and also partners who can sustain, operate, run the business model, right? So there are 3 sources of a revenue for an area developer. The very first source is franchise fees. So whatever franchise fees is being charged, a share of that comes to the area partner, which is area developer. The second part of the fee sharing comes in the form of royalties. So overall royalties, which are charged, is about 9%. So 3% goes to the area partner, 3% goes to the master licensee in the country, and 3% goes to the parent company in UK. That is how the bifurcation of the royalties are. As far as franchise fees are concerned, a larger percentage of the franchise fees is with the area developer, and a smaller percentage goes to the master licensee. So if I give you a very exact percentage, 60% of the entire franchise fee, which is collected from a unit franchisee in the territory of an area developer, 60% goes to the area developer, and 40% goes to the master and also the parent clubbed together. And third, the area developer also has an ongoing margins on every single supply that goes to the units within his territory. Now, another interesting point, which I also want to make, for an area developer, while you pay an amount to block the territory, for an area developer, he need not pay for his own center the fee. So his franchise fee is waived off. So there is no franchise fee which the area developer pays for his center, that is waived off. Second, even the royalties of 9% are not paid by the area developer. He gives only 6% and 3% is retained by him. So the royalties are 3%. And similar, he also retains the margin of supplies, not only to the subunits which are opened in his territory, but also in his own center, right? So these actually become your 3 sources of income for a area developer. We have another slide where we'll talk about regions, and then I will also explain typically how area developer also breaks in. But before that, I would like to talk about, and this is one question which I sometimes come across when I speak to potential partners, especially mostly when they don't come from the industries. Like I said, when I started off, when we started developing and working on the business offering for a partner, we studied the Indian market. We understood what the market currently the players are, what is that they're charging, and there were 2 big benchmarks which are very important and have critical consideration when we developed this business model. One was the average hour rate which these companies brands charge in India, right? That was one consideration. Our second consideration was the typical batch size, right? So if you look at this, maybe you can take a screenshot. We compared this with companies and brands like British Council, Cambridge Academy of English, Academy of English Language, British Institute of English Language, English Labs, and I've not compared with Vanilla. So we have done a comparison with, obviously, we have done an apple to apple comparison. There are a lot of, I would say, organized players in the market. It will be wrong to compare with them. So we've compared with the leaders in the industry. So if you look at British Council, they almost charge about 800 to 1,000 rupees. So which means agar 60 hours ka course hai, this is almost about 60,000 which is charged, right? Typical batch size which British Council has is about 15 to about 40. And I think between 15 to 40 is the average batch size which they take, right? Similarly, Cambridge has almost about 650 rupees per hour. That's how they charge. And if I multiply, because typically a program in this is almost about 60 hours, this again comes to about 45,000 is the average level cost for undertaking the program with Cambridge. And typical batch size again varies from about 10 to 30 odd. And similarly, we have done a benchmarking with other companies. And at the end, you can see highlighted direct English. So what we did, we compared that with the industry players, what they did, and we felt that we have to position ourselves as somebody which was comparatively more affordable, but not, kind of sacrificing on the quality of the program. So the per hour fee, if I have to bifurcate, while a fee for a student is about 15,000, but if I have to split that into number of hours as compared to the other players, the per hour fee in case of direct English is about 250 odd rupees, right? So if you multiply 250 into 60 hours, this comes an average of about 15 odd thousand is what direct English charges in India. And also the unit economics that we have worked upon is on a batch size of about 15 odd students, while the ideal size for running a batch should be at least about 20 odd students. But how we have worked on the unit economics is on a batch size of even 15 odd students, we would be profitable. The average good English learning training institute in India has almost about 900 to 1,000 students who pass out every year, right? In our projections for direct English, we have started with a very minimal projections for year 1, which starts almost at 50%. Then the industry standard is 1,000. My first year projection is about 500 students in a year. So if I split 500 into, or divide that by 12 months, which means about 40 students per month is the average. The second year, my projection, would go to about 600. And finally, the third year, I come to about 700, 800 kind of a number annually, which is number of students who pass out, which is again very low as compared to the industry standard. If you come from the industry, and I just did a poll right now, I saw almost the big audience which has joined in today, almost 70% of the audience which I see come from the education background. And out of that 60%, 50% are already in some kind of skill development role, business centers that you run, or the business that you run. Right? So I'm sure you would be able to relate to what I'm talking about. Now, friends, this is an important slide. You see the entire territories in which the country is bifurcated. So there are 20 potential territories that we feel are important for us. And unlike many other companies, how they develop their area franchisee or a master franchise model, if you look at the rollout sub-franchisees and the unit with that we expect, this is based on the minimum potential of that region, right? So maybe a city like Delhi also, has alone, forget NCR, Delhi alone has about a potential of opening minimum 20 to 25 centers, right? All across the city. But what we have taken is the minimum rollout, which we expect a partner to justify and work on. So all the rollout projections that we have taken, or the commitment that we have taken, is on a minimum rollout basis. So these are 20 territories. The highlighted one in yellow or the golden, these are gold territories, which means these territories have the highest potential of business or the opportunity, so to say, which includes UP, Uttarakhand, very big opportunity. There's a big, skill development demand in these locations. Punjab, Chandigarh, Tri-City overall, a big territory. Maharashtra is a big territory, but Maharashtra we have excluded out of Bombay. So somebody wants to take Bombay because Bombay itself is a big territory, and then rest of Maharashtra we have taken as a separate territory. So these are our golden territories. The ones that you see highlighted in green are territories which have already been awarded. We already have a partner who's running these territories. We will welcome any kind of unit franchise opportunities in these territories. And the other territories are open. In certain cases, we are in some phases of discussion, or in certain cases at advanced discussion of going ahead. But till we sign up, we are happy to discuss further. So if you look at, for example, Jammu and Kashmir, the overall rollout, if I'll request all of you to see the rollout that we are looking at, the franchise partner in all these cases has to own and operate one center, and hence this number remains constant throughout, which is 1. And then we have a sub-franchise target, which is 5. So overall, maybe a region which is Jammu, Kashmir, Ladakh and Himachal Pradesh put together, there are overall 6 as a minimum rollout that we have taken, right? Similarly, UP, you've taken a rollout of 16, 1 opened by the partner, and 15 are sub-unit. A place like Lucknow, for example, has smaller players who have alone in one city about 20 centers running for English language. So we have done that all due diligence, understanding of what people at local level are doing, and only based on that we have come out with these numbers. So accordingly, you can check the numbers. So how we have actually split the fee, unlike companies who take the entire opportunity. For example, I say a Delhi territory has an opportunity of doing 8 rollout, 20. I would expect my partner to pay me upfront, the entire fee for those 20 locations. Unlike that, our fee structure has been designed very, very carefully, right? So you have to understand that, which means that we only take a small percentage of the overall opportunity, right? Which I'll explain further. So the franchise fees for a single unit is about 4 lakhs, right? So which means if I have, let me take an example of, let me pick up maybe UP and Uttarakhand. We have clubbed this together. Agar 15 is the potential we're looking at, and 4 lakhs is the franchise fees. 4 lakh is the franchise fees of a single unit. This amount becomes 60 lakhs, right? So this is the minimum potential rollout, and the fee towards that is equivalent to 60 lakhs. Now, the area developer does not have to pay the 100% of this fee. What comes to direct English is only 40% of that, which means you can take the entire territory and become a partner by paying not 60 lakhs, but 40% of that 60 lakhs, which is 24 lakhs. And you get your own location, your own center fee waived off. Second, like I said, you have 3 sources the revenue comes in, which is your franchise fees. You get 60% and you give 40% to the company, the parent company and the master franchisee, which means out of 4 lakh fee that is collected from sub-franchising, 60% goes to you. 60% is 2.4 lakhs, correct? So 2.4 lakhs would mean that even by opening 10 outlets, which means about 65 to 70%, agar aap ye minimum rollout bhi aap achieve kar loge, you will break even. You don't even have to reach the 100% minimum rollout target. Even by doing about 60% of the target, your entire investment in the business is recovered. Maybe I'll let Namit, if you want to explain this breakup of a unit. This is
Yes.
overall.
Yes. So for a unit franchisee, we are talking about a space requirement of around 1,500 to 2,000 square feet. It will be typically like a training center where we are expecting 2 to 3 classrooms. The classroom capacity can be anybody from 20 to 25 seater with basic requirements of a projector, of a multimedia computer and sound system. The overall investment will be around 20 to 25 lakh rupees, where the breakup is given below. The franchise fees is 4 lakhs for a period of 5 years. We do the agreement. Civil work 4 lakhs. Classroom setup, which includes your furniture, your computer and everything, is around 4.05 lakhs. Computer and equipment for setting up the computer lab is around 1.5 lakh rupees. Signage and internal branding is approximately 2 lakh rupees. And the last part is in terms of the student kit. So what happens, even if they are providing that online study material, any franchisee need to buy 100 kits in advance so that they can be churned and we can again right? Because everything has to be sourced from UK, right? So you need to buy those student kits of 3 lakh rupees in advance, right? In terms of the payback period, as Sonia ma'am has already briefed that we are talking about 540 students in the very first year. So our payback period is around 6 to 7 months, and you can easily get all your ROIs within less than 1 year of time is the basic concept.
I'll add on to that, Namit. So friends, if you look at the investment, we don't need a very huge area. It can be not even on the ground floor, even a first floor, second floor. But absolutely the location at which we would open is very, very important. We need only locations which are education hubs, right? Because you will have a lot of intake of students who are already taking some kind of courses, right? These skill development courses, vocational courses, and that becomes a very big intake of students. So we need to be in locations which are surrounded by certain institutions. So all my 3 partners in 3 locations, the locations that we have shortlisted are near universities where we have a big education hub, IT institutes. That's where it works very well. But we're not finicky about what floor we can go in. Education can go on any floor. Coaching business can go on any floor. So which means that your operating cost of running a center is not high, right? I'm not in a retail space. I'm not in a mall. I'm not in a high street. I'm in a student's hub, where the education institutes are there. So your cost of occupancy is also very, very high, right? So initial investment also comparatively not very high. While we have kept a component of 4 lakhs towards civil work, but most of the locations that you would get are locations where the civil work, maybe your basic plumbing, lighting, electrical work would have been done. So maybe this 4 lakh can even come down or completely be taken off. So that also reduces your investment. We have taken an investment of 3 classrooms at the rate of, say, 1.35 lakhs per classroom. But our minimum requirement would be about at least 2 classrooms, which can house at least about 20 to 25 odd students. So we can have 2 classrooms and small counseling rooms, because a lot of counseling, where we can have a counselor and at least a place for 2 students to sit. We would need at least 3 to 4 such small counseling rooms. And apart from that, there is a small component that we have kept in working capital. So this is a digital kit. So because all these kits come from UK, and pre-COVID, all these kits were coming and being exported to different countries in a physical format. And post-COVID, Direct English has actually changed that. Now, this is more digitalized, which means you don't have to actually buy in huge bulk. So while we've kept a provision of 3 lakhs, it can even start with about 1.5 or 2 lakhs, depending on how much of intake of students I have for my first batch. So if we look at the investment of all these components put together, one can easily put up the entire center in less than 20 lakhs of the investment, but we have taken comparatively on the higher side the investment for the business.
Yes.
Okay. Let me go on the
Next. Yes. So in terms of the ideal partner profile, as already briefed upon, so somebody who's coming from the education industry is definitely a plus, but anybody who has got an intent to run the business and take charge of that business is very, very important. Education per se is an industry where we like people who are like-minded people, right? And education is again a social angle to it, where we require really partners to work on day-to-day operations of running a training center. So women entrepreneurs are next, which are very, very key focus for education business. If you see across, possibly 80%, 90% of the education business holders are the women education holders, right? Who are women entrepreneurs. So women play a very, very vital role in terms of handling this business, right? So the first thing is that they should be financially fit, right? Where we are talking about a very, very low kind of a budget of starting a training center, who should be ready to handle the operations part of it, because there are multiple profiles in a training center, counselors, training, how to handle the sales. So they should be able to handle all those kind of features in a training center. Marketing fit is the right position of a training center, which is the education hub, is where you should be located at. And then the last is the strategic fit, where you have the entrepreneur skills and the creative mindset that how you can leverage the market which we are opening up in a training center. How can you can leverage that market? How can go to reach to more and more student base is what is expected out of a business partner. Anything, ma'am, you would like to add?
That's, I think we did
Yes.
cover this site. And friends, just to
Yes.
add on the marketing fit, because this is a center which is a skill development. So every time there's a launch which is planned to take place, the pre-marketing starts, pre-launch starts much prior, right? We cannot go and look for students when the center has been launched. So the work starts about a month prior to that, where the students in the neighborhood, so The Direct English team also works with the partners to design communication and also work on the digital network. And we also recommend the local partner to do activities in the region to acquire a student base.
Yes.
Okay, so I think this is quickly, I'll say this is an industry, obviously high growth. We talked about the industry. The entire curriculum is CEFR. It is a UK curriculum, and British education is something which is sought after. And hence the entire curriculum, holds a lot of significance. It is a brand which has a strong global presence and a brand which has a very strong brand equity globally, more than 20 countries. They have been operating. And also, while it says no education experience required, but definitely we need sensibilities of somebody who wants to own and operate. Like I said, all my partners currently come from the education pedigree, and I'm happy to also see, almost everybody who's joined in, a larger part of our audience that has joined in today, they come from skill development or education at large. My partner in Chennai is a woman entrepreneur. She's teaching in a leading, college in Chennai, and she's an English lecturer. Similarly, our partner in Northeast and our partner in Delhi NCR, they run a leading university and also coaching centers, and they also are people who have a lot of experience of more than 2 decades in the education. So these kind of sensibilities and I would say skill set is something which is comparatively important for us, and that's, I would say, the first filtration for us to consider. And obviously the world leading teaching resources, the entire training to the franchise partner, to the teachers. There's a detailed manuals. These are teacher manuals. These are SOPs which have been designed by the company. And the parent company also comes and imparts these training modules to the franchise partner. And obviously there's an ongoing support with respect to training, new product development, and also any kind of support which comes from both the head office in UK and also from the master licensee office for the launch, pre-launch, and ongoing support to our partners. So great, friends. This is what we had to be showcased to all of you. I will also request Namit, if we can take some questions. And friends, my request would be, we will leave our details. I have my teams across India who you can find. We are there in 97 cities. So if you want to even set up an appointment, you can please let us know. We'll be happy to get that answers.
So there are some questions, ma'am. Let me take those questions. Is there a mapping of these levels with respect to the IELTS examination? That is, to get a 6 and above grade in IELTS, which level should be a student qualify? Asked by Mr. Praveen Devan.
I'll ask you a question. I'll answer that, so that's an important question. And one, it is important to be understood. This is not a IELTS center, right? Even Cambridge does not have IELTS center. Even the Cambridge centers which are run in the country, they run on the same curriculum as Direct English. These centers are separate where the testings are done, right? So these are testing centers. Now on the qualification of a student, you said, maybe level 6 or 7. So when any student comes to take admission in Direct English, there is an assessment test which is given to a student, and this assessment test has questions, right? These are subjective objective questions which a student is required to click and fill. Now depending on the score that he gets, the center and also Direct English is able to understand at what level his proficiency of the English is, and based on the results he is then advised on the level that he should take admission in.
Next question is, ma'am, how will the availability of faculty be ensured by the brand for taking up those various levels, more so for the advanced levels?
Praveenji, this faculty is easily available, especially when it comes to education. Faculty training is important. While you can still get the faculty, but the training module is something which both the master licensee, which is Aptitude Studio, and also the parent company. Rather, we were there 2 days back. We had their curriculum head, who actually came and took training of all our area developer partners. So training is something which is important. As far as faculty is concerned, we have certain benchmarks on the profile and also the qualification of faculties, which especially in the cities where we want to be in, there's no dearth of, getting these faculties. If you look at the leading coaching institutes also in the country, most of the faculty actually comes from not the capital, they come from tier 2 and 3. So getting a faculty for a program like this is not a problem. But what is to be understood is, the right training which has to be given and imparted, for which Direct English trains. They have a separate module for teacher training.
Next question is from Mary Honey. What's the minimum kilometer distance between each outlet?
So, Periji, while there is, if you look at, there was a time, when we were doing franchising, every company would say, I don't want to open in 2 kilometer, 3 kilometer. But now that notion is no more relevant. If you look at the malls today, retail businesses also, you have same brands in 2-3 kilometer radius also, or distance also. Now, how that opportunity or distance is defined is not by kilometers, but by the opportunity. If I have a big center and have number of students which my current center can take off, we don't have to open another center. But yes, about 4 to 5, 5 to 6 kilometers, something that should be an ideal distance. But if the opportunity is big and if we have bigger demand and my current center is not able to take, that number of students, and there could be certain hubs where I need a bigger center, that might only be the exception. But yes, absolutely, we don't want to cannibalize the business. And we also need to ensure that all my partners, and also we are also responsible and accountable to what we bring in, and accountable also for the success of our partners. So that is something that we are equally sensitive about.
Next question is from an anonymous attendee.
So I don't think this is not relevant. Then we have Mr. Yedu Kumar. Do you provide shortlisting? Yes, Yaduji. In fact, like I said, while what floor you want to go in is not important, but all the education hubs, right? For example, in Delhi, we are opening in Satyaniketan. Even the area around the IIT Delhi is very good. Places like Gurgaon, for example, Sector 14. These are all education hubs, and we have locations also shortlisted. But most of these locations have to be in the education hubs, where students come for coaching. So I hope that takes care of.
Yes. Next is from Himang. Couple of questions. Shall the tutor be exclusively recruited by DE? Second, does it provide additional polishing levels for competitive exams like TOEFL, IELTS? In parallel, are short T&D programs available for corporate trainings? Also, on competitive landscape, with big formidable names mentioned in the PPT, British Council, few others, is there a USP in place for the brand?
So, Himanshu, I think we have covered that, but answering this is not this is a skill development program like that English does. It is not preparing somebody for TOEFL or ELTS, right? So it does not kind of, while obviously the polishing happens because the entire curriculum is defined and based on the CEFR level. So almost everything which comes in these exams that would already be covered, but it does not claim, and neither even Cambridge. They don't say we are an IELTS company. These testing institutes centers are separate.
Okay.
Himanshi, we did talk about, I think maybe you missed that slide. एक slide थी जिसमें हमने पूरा competitive landscape पे 2 benchmarks के ऊपर हमने categorization किया था. One was the batch size, the other was fee structure. So comparatively, without even compromising on the quality, the curriculum, our fee is almost about 30 to 70% lesser than many international players. Right, so that is one, and also most of the other brands, they don't actively franchise, right? While Direct English, their main expansion model is via franchising.
So Navneet ji also wants to ask, only listening module we have in LMS. So
Navneet ji, सारा का सारा है, जैसे बोला 4 skills required है, and Direct English सारे English language जो है training की, they cover all, which is your learning, which is your speaking, writing and listening. ये चारों की चारों skills आपके online offline में cover होते हैं. But let me also explain that further. Now the Delhi program, which is a live program, there might be a student जिसको शायद physical center में नहीं आना, वो directly enroll कर सकता है, and सारा fulfillment आपको parent company करती है. So center has no role to play, right? So जो commission या structure एक center को आता है वो comparatively कम होगा. But अगर बच्चा आपके center में आके कर रहा है, obviously you have a bigger share. And also we need at least about 20-25 batch coming in. सारे के सारे आपके covered होते हैं. All these 4 critical aspects of English language training. What are the monthly average expenses in running this institute? Very relevant question, Manish ji. ये operationally बहुत heavy नहीं है. So typical expenses of running an institute, एक आपका expense होता है rent. We're looking at a 1,500-2,000 square feet of space, which ideally has to be between 60,000, 70,000, not more than that, right? You need about 2 faculties जो आपको पढ़ाएंगी, right? And these typically faculty, the cost of these faculties is about 15,000 average. You need one center manager, and you need maybe one counselor to start off with. And as your business increase, you can increase the faculty that you need, right? So, जो आपका monthly expense आता है, all these put together is not more than about 2 odd lakhs. Rather इससे भी कम होगा. It's about 1.5 lakhs आपका typical आपका monthly expense आता है. Now, let me give an example. अगर मैं 15,000 की फीस की बात करती हूँ, so one fee is a registration fee. 1200 का registration fee होता है आपका, and 1200 रुपए आप अपने पास रखते हैं, right? So it's a 1,200 rupees which the center owner keeps with him. इसमें डायरेक्ट इंग्लिश की कोई शेयरिंग नहीं है. So ये सारा का सारा रेवेन्यू रजिस्ट्रेशन का ये आपके पास जाता है. The only sharing which happens with direct English is only on the fee. तो 15,000 का फी स्ट्रक्चर है हमारा. सिर्फ 15,000 के ऊपर जो आपका होता है आपका 60% और जो 40% जो मैंने शेयरिंग की बात की वो सिर्फ इस फी के ऊपर होती है. Now, if we have 15,000, fee structure, and in a year, अगर मेरे 550 लोग बच्चे आते हैं, like I said, मैंने पहला साल सबसे कम minimal, benchmark लिया है. Well, any good English learning training institute would have at least about 900 to 1,000 students passing each year. This would also mean that there is almost about 85 to 90 lakhs का आपका revenue होता है. जिसका मतलब है तकरीबन आपका महीने का revenue आपका 7.5 लाख के आसपास आता है. Right? So, अगर मैं उसको उस तरीके से split करूं, हमारे जो कोर्सेज हैं वो 3 महीने कोर्सेज होते हैं. एनीबडी हु टेक्स एन एडमिशन वो 3 महीने का कोर्स होता है. 3 क्लासेस हमारी वीकली होती हैं, and about 90 minutes is per class. So this is how typically it is structured, right? So I hope that helps you, but if you need to have a discussion, we can do that. For area developer investment, did you include one center capex? So योगेश जी मैं आपको दोबारा एक्सप्लेन करती हूँ. एक सेंटर का जो capex होता है तकरीबन आपको 20 लाख के अंदर अंदर आपको पड़ेगा. अब एरिया डिपेंड करता है अपने आप कौन सी लोकेशन के लिए आप देख रहे हैं. अगर उसका 8 का रोल आउट है, 9 का रोल आउट है, आप उसको मल्टीप्लाई कर दीजिए 4 के साथ. अगर आपका आई डोंट नो व्हाट रीजन आर यू टॉकिंग अबाउट. अगर मैं मानूं कि अगर आपके रीजन का रोल आउट 10 है, फॉर एग्जांपल आपको सब फ्रेंचाइजिंग 10 करनी है, तो उस 10 को आप 4 से मल्टीप्लाई करते हैं. 4 आपका फ्रेंचाइज फीस है, 40 लाख आता है. 40 लाख का भी जो आप हमें पे करेंगे वो सिर्फ आपका 40% है, विच मीन्स अगर 16 लाख में मानूं वो फीस हो गई, और एक आपका 15-20 लाख के अंदर अंदर आपका सेट, तो 35 लाख के अंदर डिपेंडिंग ऑन व्हाट टेरिटरी इट इज आपका इन्वेस्टमेंट सारा आपका इंक्लूड हो जाता है. How a unit franchisee can get a certainty of X number of students for survival of the business. Navneet ji, that's very important. And like I said, for a launch of any center, दो चीजें बहुत important है. What we work is first and foremost, the location has to be good. I can't open ये retail business नहीं है which I have to open in a location. It has to first and foremost open in only location which has a very big student audience, right? Some days back, I was speaking to somebody in one of the small cities in UP, right? And this guy has been in the education business for a very, very long period of time. उनके आसपास सारे आकाश हैं, engineering colleges, बच्चे coaching के लिए आते हैं. That is the apt, area for me, because you already have a natural audience, students जो ये courses लेते हैं. अगर आप coaching की बात करें, training की बात करें, या skill development के courses, कोई beautician का course कर रहा है, vocational courses हैं, कोई भी skill development का course आज की तारीख में बच्चा करता है. Even the 5-star hotels, 3-star hotels, 4-star hotels, जो भी लोगों को hospitality से भी employ करते हैं, they need to have the basic proficiency of, speaking in English, जो आपका बिल्कुल staff आपका front end पे होता है. So अगर आप इन locations पे होंगे, there will be no problem in getting to your target student base. Second, you should start marketing at least a month before, right? जब आपको मालूम है कि मेरे एक महीने बाद सेंटर खुलने वाला है, right? I'm doing. So एक महीने पहले उसका pre-launch की marketing आप और हम बैठ के हम discuss करते हैं what would work in that location to ensure the predictability of the business, right? So I hope all right. Yaduji, you mentioned you're from Noida, and Noida because we already have an area partner. So हम नोएडा के लिए एरिया डेवलपर नहीं दे सकते, बट विल बी हैप्पी टू कंसिडर, एंड नोएडा इज अ वेरी बिग अपॉर्चुनिटी. वी आर नॉट देयर इन नोएडा. मेरा पहला सेंटर जो हमारे पार्टनर खोल रहे हैं वो दिल्ली में खोल रहे हैं, सत्य निकेतन में, बट नोएडा इज डेफिनेटली वी वुड वांट टू बी देयर. When and how unit franchisee can expect to meet up at par of the investment done? So Navneet ji, I think what your question is, आपको ROI typically आपका within 1 year ideally, if we have taken the minimum benchmark, अगर ये होता है तो ideally आपको 1 साल के अंदर अंदर आना चाहिए business. One thing more I would request everybody, whatever we have told is based on our own experience, our working that we did on the opportunity for India. But for everybody who's serious about opening a center, you want to get into it, I would really request you to understand the opportunity, the industry, how big it is, what are the players in the market. आप खुद भी अपना due diligence कीजिए जहाँ पे आप खोलना चाहते हैं, understand what is the audience, right, which needs maybe enrollment for centers like this. It will also open up your own mind, right? So this is the information that we shared with you, but I would really want and urge everyone to even do that. Now, will you be giving other language training also? No, Yogesh ji, सिर्फ English learning है आपका, सिर्फ English language ही हम train करते हैं. It specializes only in English, does not do any other languages. And ये अपने आप में बहुत बड़ा opportunity है. Navneet ji, agreement of the franchisee does not come. We don't circulate franchise agreements unless we understand the seriousness. We need to understand where you come from. Once we have a formal understanding and principal approval, like I mentioned, there is a call which is done with the parent company. And once we agree to move ahead, only then we share a copy of the agreement. So I would say agreement typically comes at the end when we principally, approve each other. Okay, in case someone fails to run the business, Navneet ji, इसमें exit policy कोई as simple as that. Whatever investment you have made, that remains in the business. And there are also minimum requirements for an area developer, because when we award you an area development, I don't know what capacity you want to partner. अगर आप area developer हैं, तो वो important है कि जो minimum rollout है, that has to be achieved year on year. So there are certain benchmarks. We say year 1, year 2, and year 3. So that is very important to be done. But I don't know, with providing all systems, all processes and training, why a franchisee should fail. And because this is a franchisee and franchisee operated business, a franchise partner is in the driving seat. So the entire, I would say, responsibility of making that outlet performing lies on the partner. But whatever it takes by the parent company, by the master licensee to train, equip our partners to make that happen is something that we take care of, right? Okay, so Navneet ji, ये आपने जो question पूछा, is the franchise transferable to any other person? My agreement does not allow, but definitely that is something that can be discussed. But ये without our approval, without our discussion, to understand what a new partner brings in, this is something that we also as a master licensee, we're not permitted to do that. So when a situation like that arises, we can definitely discuss. I would not say we don't do it or do, but we can be flexible. But that currently does not form a part of my agreement. I hope I see a lot of questions. Murli ji, I'm already offering some products, services. Can I offer this from the same roof? Murli ji, if you have already infrastructure available, see, it needs a separate entrance. If you have infrastructure of 1,500, 2,000 square feet, and it is done as per the requirement of direct English, we don't have a problem. But if you want the same center, it will not give the experience of direct English. But if you have a big enough space where you think these two businesses can be run in parallel, because we have our own guidelines of brand and we are binded by that, how the coding or the signage needs to look, how my classroom needs to look, the equipment, what all needs to be in place. And definitely we can run, provided there is a separate space which is given to direct English. Maybe you can share more information on that. Okay, that too can be, or should be separate. So we'll be happy, friends, if you have more questions. I'll request, let me also put our number. If you want to WhatsApp me, it's 8800493185. I will also leave my email ID, which is csonya@franchiseindia.in. आप मेरे को reach out कर सकते हैं. And I will also request Namit, if you want to share your details also. And Navneet ji, you have raised your hand. मैं आपको request करूँगी, if you have any questions, we are happy to meet with you. We can do a Zoom meeting anytime starting today. And we are happy to block 30 minutes, 40 minutes, or as long as you want to satisfy whatever your questions are. Because I know everybody who's looking at investing in business needs a lot of clarification on how it would work, what support you get, what you bring in, and what we bring on the table. So I'll request all of you, friends, please fix up a separate call offline with us. We can do it physically, we can do it virtually. And also we have offices pan India. I am based out of headquarters in Delhi, and so is Namit and Shivam also in Delhi. But apart from our teams in Delhi, we have places all across, and wherever you want, I'll be happy to have one of our partners, our team members, our advisors in your respective city come and meet with you. I'd like to thank you so much for staying with us. We started a session at 4 o'clock. It's 5:15. Thank you for sticking with us for so long. And thank you for all the wonderful questions. And I thank you all. I love the profile of partners who've come in. And with what you have shared, and most of you looking at your profiles, I myself would be happy to discuss and explore further. And before I close, I'll request Namit and Shivam if you have a last message to share with everyone.
Yes. Thank you very much, all my dear friends. In case you have any further questions, please feel free to call us anytime. We are there to support you. We want to create a great brand which has got great legacy, which has got great potential, and potential is everywhere, right? So it's just your opportunity which can be limited, but get into a fold where we can make it happen and we can make it successful. So join hands with us. Look forward for you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.